Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to do a brief presentation about why I think you should use multiple different AI chatbots and not just one. I said here why you should ask your questions to many different AI LLM chatbots, not just one. But I think in general, you should use more than one AI tool. And there are so many reasons, but I'm just going to give you a few reasons. So the first thing is that competition in the AI field is very fierce, and quality is constantly getting better and better. So this is between companies, between countries. Uh, you've got huge companies, some that are approaching over $1 trillion in valuation. You've got competition between countries: USA, France, Japan, Switzerland, China. Okay, so there's competition all over the world, and competition, in my opinion, is great in that it forces almost everything to get better when there's real competition. And now many tools have very high results, text, images, videos, etc. And basically, no one AI tool, when AI tool completely dominates. And there's a few examples here. There's ChatGPT, Cloud, DeepSeek, Google Gemini, Grok, Kimi, Mistral, Microsoft Copilot, Quen. This is from Alibaba. And Hugging Face. Actually, I know of many, many more, and I use quite a lot of different tools. But even these ones, I think all of them are generally give very high quality. And if you use even just a few of these, I think you can benefit as opposed to just using one. And I was talking to one of my friends today, and I gave this analogy, which is that why might you want to use different AI chatbots? Why would you want to ask, for example, ChatGPT, Cloud, and Gemini all the same question? Well, you could think of it kind of like if you need advice from friends for some dilemma in your life, you might ask friend A for advice, friend B for advice, then friend C for advice. And who knows, one of your friends might surprise you. It might be impossible for you to predict which friend gives you the best advice. And in the same way, it may be impossible for you to know which AI LLM chatbot is going to give you the best advice. And basically, just like a car or an airplane, you might have different cars, different airplanes have completely different architectures. And in the same way, AI LLM chatbots may have completely different architecture designs and different training data. So you should expect that they may give different output, even wildly different output based on the same input, but it doesn't necessarily mean any given AI tool is better than others, especially when we're talking about these world-class ones. And as I mentioned before, sometimes it's impossible to know which AI tool will give you the best output. So that to me is a very good reason to ask multiple AIs. And you might be surprised which AI tool gives you the best output. It's not it's not the case, for example, that ChatGPT will always give the best output. Sometimes Cloud might, sometimes Quen might. Okay, sometimes DeepSeek might. See, I often run into cases where, for example, Quen gives the best output. Sometimes Copilot does. There's probably been cases where I've seen Mistral give maybe the best. Definitely Kimi gives great. Like Grok, I think sometimes Grok gives the best output. And even these are just for the even just for the free versions. Maybe it might be different for paid versions, but even still between paid versions, you can never really know which one is going to be better. And even between this is an open source model. even different open source models, maybe you won't know which one will give the best output. One might have much higher, many more parameters, but that doesn't necessarily mean it'll give a better answer. So I want to give you an example here. Um, so for example, let's say that you want to have an email list of 10,000 people within 2 years. You could choose to ask only one AI for advice. For example, let's say you only ask ChatGPT, and maybe ChatGPT gives you great advice, or pretty good advice anyway. But I still think in general it's better to ask many different ones, or at least let's say at least three. You don't have to ask so many, but I think getting a good 3 to 5 would be good. 3 to 5. Uh, Asking 3 to 5 AI tools might be good. Okay. So for example, let's say I gave it this prompt. Recently started a blog about self-help. I focus on mental health specifically. I want you to help me with tips and a comprehensive plan for how to have an email list and eventually have over 10,000 people subscribe to that email list. Treat me as a beginner, but give me realistic tips and a realistic plan over 24 months. Okay, so I'm going to show you the outputs now. I passed this already into these sites. They all have different models, and I want to show you the outputs. Okay, so for example, let's say that, I gave the same prompt to all of these. So I have ChatGPT, Cloud, DeepSeek, Gemini, Grok, Kimi, Mistral, Microsoft Copilot, Quen. This is from Alibaba, and one from Hugging Face. So, for example, this is one that this is from ChatGPT. This is using a free model. And for example, here I think this gives some good ideas. So, for example, set up your email system. So you should have a way to actually capture the emails. You want traffic. Want to have a lead magnet. Okay, that's critical. People I have my own experience. People aren't going to just sign up for your email list for fun. You generally got to give them something that they want. Like you've got to give them something that benefits them right now. Or if you're a famous blogger, they might follow you just because they like reading your blog. But this is a very good advice that most email marketing masters will talk about this, having a good lead magnet. So that's ChatGPT. It gives good advice. And Cloud gives this, for example, fundamentals. Let's see what it says here. Quality beats quantity. So 500 engaged readers are worth more than 5,000 who ignore you. Okay, that's fantastic. And this one, this gives good advice. So first, have a way to collect the emails, whether it's MailChimp or Kit or others. A thank you page. See, it says here lead magnet. So already both of them have mentioned about lead magnets. Let's see what DeepSeek says. DeepSeek says, so this discusses about legal stuff. And I think legal stuff is important, but I honestly think legal is not that important compared to what I mean is I think it's important to get started because if you try to do everything at the beginning, like especially legal stuff, which can be complicated, you might end up just not starting. But yeah, anyway, this has lead magnet, which I think is good. It talks about SEO, which is fantastic. Yeah, that's true. Gemini says, for example, have a way to collect the emails, have a content strategy, optimize your website. So this is going to be SEO. Guest posting, collaborations. Okay, yeah. And Grok says it's one of the smartest moves you can make for a blog in general. So yeah, pick your email provider. Okay, so a lot of them are going to give more or less the same advice. First, no matter what, you have to have a way to collect the emails. You have to have this here mentions about lead magnet. So they give a lot of the same advice, and some of them will give very unique advice. So let's look at Kimi. Kimi here says, I like here that it mentions about the 80-20 rule. So 80% value, 20% soft promotion. So that's pretty interesting. Mistral mentions about, yeah, of course, you have to have a way to collect the email. Optimize your blog. And you see it has a lead magnet, mentions about lead magnet. Let's look at Copilot. Okay, so again, you need a lead magnet. You need to focus on SEO, partnerships. Okay, so each one of these topics, even like SEO, is like a massive subject in and of itself. Social, like I don't know if it mentions. I don't know if this means social media or just social in general. And then we have Quen. What trust is your currency? Okay, so yeah, growth is rarely linear. That's so true. Growth is very often non-linear. So you might have no growth for like months and months and months and months, and then suddenly get a massive spike. Or like me, when I had my first viral video, a lot of my videos were getting less than 100 views, and then suddenly one day a video got eventually got almost 1 million views. So yeah, this gives the mindset and math. I like this with Quen. So at first it says have the mindset and the math. So before even you set up an email provider, you should have mindset and math. So the goal, average needed. So I love that this says, this is fantastic. And then the golden rule, never buy an email list. It is illegal in many places. It ruins your seller reputation. Okay, so basically build up honestly and build up from scratch, basically. And it mentions about email provider. And yeah, you have sequences. So you have like a welcome sequence. And then, yeah, this mentions about legal and ethics. I do think legal and ethics is important, but I think what's more important is first that you just start it. You can focus on the legal. I mean, you're going to start with 0 subscribers, so it doesn't really matter. Legal is going to matter eventually, but first you got to get it started. And one of these mentions legal first. I think, yeah, DeepSeek mentioned legal before anything. And I think actually this is not the best. I think first it should have been first you set up a way to actually collect the emails, and then maybe you can work on the ethics. Because if you have 0 subscribers, ethics, I mean the legal is not going to matter so much. Okay, and then Mistral gives good advice. And then finally, yeah, this was the open source one. This is from Hugging Chat. And I think this also gives good advice. Okay, so for example here, build the foundation, have a website opt-in, have a lead magnet, and it gives you some milestones, which I think is pretty unique. Other ones, I'm not sure if they give milestones, but like for example, get your first 1,000 people in the first year, and then, or for the first 6 months, sorry. The first year, yeah, you'll get up to like 3,000, and then 2 years, hopefully up to 10,000. So I think this is good advice. And then, yeah, like for example, before you do anything, I think this is good advice. You choose an email service, you have to be able to collect it, and so on. Okay, so in this video, I discuss why I think you should use multiple different AI models. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to and follow this channel. and see you in the next one. Thank you.